Hey peeps. Happy Monday. Couple things before I forget, there's no school tomorrow. It's an e-learning day, so your e-learning assignment is going to be to get on Skyward and write down your grade percentage. Okay, so if you have an 89.4% or 89%, along with your letter grade. Okay, and then if you have any missing assignments, that's what you'll work on. I'm telling you right now, I'm taking phones and iPads the second I get in there. So if you know you're missing a bunch of stuff, then you have today and Tuesday to get all that stuff in by Wednesday. Um, so get your e-learning done. Today we're gonna do. I'll be back on Wednesday, so there will be Zoom starting again on Wednesday if you're an online student. But we're gonna do assignment 15. I do want to fair warn you, this is just a rough topic. Okay, so hopefully Hanson's in there. Do what you can. Um, it's gonna take you a hot minute. Okay, I think we're spending probably 4 or 5 days on this. Um, so don't get frustrated. Follow along, do your best, and um, you should be able to get the gist of a first few steps by the end of today. Okay, when we're starting to factor, you should get that, doing the parentheses, stuff like that. But as far as like fully doing them, I don't know that you're gonna be able to do it by the end of the day. So there's no point in getting frustrated. Do your best, and try to follow along and ask for help from somebody if you need it. Okay. So assignment 15. So we're factoring, and we factored before, and I'm gonna just factor. Let's see. We could say this equation. By the way, cross off number 1. I don't want to do it. We're going to do something else in its spot. So we could factor, if we have an equation like, let me make sure this will work before you write it down. Okay, so if we had this equation, and we did before, this was a certain type of factoring, okay? And A was 1. We had our A, B, and C, and we could identify those. So we could look at this and say, well, A is 1, okay? And I'm going to draw it on here. There's really a magic 1 right there. Our B was 5, and our C was 6. Okay, these are the ones where A was 1. And so if you look at the top of your assignment sheet, it very specifically says A is not 1. Okay, so all these problems, A was not going to be 1. But, so what we did was, and it's been a little while, but you drew 2 sets of parentheses. We said, well, how many X's do we have? Well, we have 2. Okay, so I have X and X. And then you would find factors of this last number, so of this 6. So we'd say 1 and 6, 2 and 3. Okay, and we'd say of these groups, you got this group with the 1 and 6, and this group with the 2 and 3. We'd say of these groups, what is going to add or subtract to give me a 5? What group? Okay, and I picked this one because it could be either. Okay, so if you pick a 1 and 6 or a 2 and 3, they're both going to give you 5. So we could say 2 and 3. Well, how could I get a plus 5? Because I have a plus 5x. Well, it's got to be plus, plus. Okay, so that's how we did those ones. Okay, that was when A is 1. But the rules change a little bit if A is not 1. Okay, so if you look at number 3, A is not 1. Okay, and so what really you have to do, normally you would factor this last number, which you're still going to do, but now you have to factor the first number also. Okay, and so over here you could draw a 3. We got 1 and 3, and that's it. Those are the only number choices. Okay, well, we factor the back number 2, and so we're going to have 6, and I'm drawing it way over here because we're going to need some room. We got 1 and 6, 2 and 3. Okay, and here's where it gets a little bit tricky, and do not write in pen. For the love of God, do not write in pen. You're going to be erasing a lot. I have to erase a lot, just so you know. Okay, and so we're going to draw our 2 parentheses, just like we normally would. Okay, and the first numbers, and I'm going to do them in red. I should have did this in red. Okay, we got our 1 and 3, and so we put those in the first spots in both the boxes. And we know we have a set of V's. So we could say 1V and 3V. Okay, and then the back boxes, you have these different groups you could pick from. You could pick 1 and 6 or 2 and 3. Okay, and so, and you just have to try them out, is the honest to God truth. And so, because there are 4 numbers here, 1, 6, 2, 3, there are 4 options that you can try. Okay? Because, so we could start out by trying a 1 and a 6. Okay? Do not write too heavy. So what you need to do, and this part I'm just going to show you real quick, but you have to foil this stuff out and see if it's going to work. And so what we're going to do here, and I'm going to show you a cheater way, but so when we foil, we times the first. 1 times 3 is going to be 3v squared, because we're trying to get back to this. The outer, 1 times 6 is going to be 6v. The inner is 3v. And the last is 6. Okay, and so we can clearly see that the 3v and the 6 match up, and you always add these middle two. So the 6 and 3 add to 11. Or subtract, for that matter. Add or subtract to 11. And the answer is no. And so really you've done all this work and it doesn't work out. And so this is why I'm saying you're going to have a lot of options to do. And so a cheater way, and I'm going to show you on this one. So what you need to do is erase the 1 and 6 in the parentheses and flip the order around. And so you're going to say 6 and then 1. Okay, because the order does matter. It matters whether you put a 1 and a 6 or a 6 and then a 1. Do not jump from the 1 and 6 to the 2 and 3 without checking both options, because you'll get all jacked up. Okay, and because, so we can still, and I'm going to do, we can erase all this stuff. The first and the last terms are always going to work out, so you really don't need to check them. You need to check the outer and the inner every time. Those are the ones that you're going to check to see if your equation works, because the outer, that 3v and that 6 is always going to work out. Okay, we need to check the outer and the inner. So the outer is going to be 1 times 1, which is going to give you 1. The inner, 6 times 3, is going to give you 18. Would 18 and a 1 ever give me this 11 that I need in the middle here? No. And so we've checked 1 and 6, and we've checked 6 and 1. And so we know that those don't work. And so now we can try 2 and 3. So we say 2 then 3. Or you could try 3 then 2. Okay, and so we check the outer and the inner. Okay, well for the outer I'm going to have 1 times 3, which is 3. The inner, 2 times 3, which is 6. Would a 3 and a 6 ever give me an 11? Somehow? Adding or subtracting? No. And so you need to erase the 2 and the 3 on the inside. And some of these you're going to get on your first shot, and some of them you won't. Okay, and put 3 then 2. Okay, I know some of you guys are like, oh my god, already. Okay, just hang in there. 1 times 2 is going to give me 2. 3 times 3 is going to give me 9. Would a 2 and a 9 ever give me an 11? Yeah, it would. Okay, and so how? How could I get a plus 11? Because that's what I need up here is a plus 11. Okay, well it has to be plus plus, and so you fill these in plus plus. Okay, and normally because it says equals 0, we would go a step further and solve, but that's just too much in one day. Okay, so we're not even going to do that. So all your answers are going to look like that 2 parentheses version. Okay. Okay, let's look at 5. Okay, we factor our first number and our last number. And so for the first one I have a 2. Okay, well it's going to be a 1 and a 2. For the back one I got a 1. And the only factors of 1 are 1 and 1. Okay, we can draw our parentheses. And we can put in our first set of numbers. And I actually want to erase this color real quick. My bad. Okay, so our first set of numbers we can fill in. We got a 1 and a 2. And how many B's do we have? Okay, well we got 2, B and B. And then our back numbers, we fill in our back number options, and it's a 1 and a 1. Okay, and on all these we check the outers and the inners. Okay, so we check the outers and the inners. So 1 times 1 is 1. 1 times 2 is 3. Would a 1 and a 3 ever give me a 3? Oh, wait, my bad. I did that wrong. There should be 1 times 2. My bad. 1 times 1 is 1. 1 times 2 is 2. Would a 1 and a 2 ever give me a 3? Yeah, how? It's got to be a plus plus. Okay, so we could fill in plus plus.